I witness a lot of young people and even older, like guys that are under 18, their main issue seems to be that they're lost in life. They don't have a direction. They find everything purposeless. And there is a trend in which those guys are sharing that they have hard time to even get out of their beds. Just imagine that when you're waking up, when you presumably are recharged after a long sleep, and you have to be recovered, in theory, you have a hard time getting out of that bed and getting yourself to even brush your teeth and make your bed and continue with your life from there on. And I find this in people that are at my age as well. I'm born in 1992, so I don't know how old I am, around 32. It sounds scary. Yesterday I was 20. I don't know where the past 10 years gone by, but there we are. And yeah, I kind of see that worrisome trend. And I have my own explanation of it because 10 years ago, when I was 20, I was in a similar position. I had a hard time getting out of my bed. So, and when I think about how my usual day looked like, I would wake up at 11, sometimes 12, sometimes 1 p.m. Because I had those late nights, I was getting to bed at 2, 3, 4, even 5 a.m. And I was waking up tired. And what I did after waking up was just consuming content and playing games as well, and spending my time on the internet. And when I had to go to school, take some lessons, I found it so hard to do, and I couldn't wait to get back home and continue doing my thing, which was playing computer games or doing something else on the internet. And everything that is not socializely involved, I wanted to kind of live in that digital world. And that was taking my energy out. And if I compare that to the way that I'm living now, it's very different. I go to bed at 9 or 10 p.m. and I get up early. I get up like 5 or 6. And I always considered myself to be that late owl. So I was not the morning type of guy. I was able for some reason to come up with ideas, to be creative late at night. And I was not functioning well in the mornings. And when you think about it now, well, it's normal. I was getting to bed. The time that I'm going out of bed in this present time was the time that I was going back to bed 10 years ago. So yeah, the morning was quite different timing from there and now. So it kind of makes sense why I felt like it. But Now I wake up and I get to work, and I don't find it hard. I don't find it hard to get out of bed. I don't find it hard to get stuff done. And part of it is because I have that schedule of just taking care of my sleep and recovery. So when the sun rises, that's usually the time when it's a good idea to wake up as a human being. Because if you go back to history for 300,000 years, we're just waking up when the sun was rising, going to sleep when the sun was going down. So we were active in the day, in the mornings, we go and hunt and take care of the food. At evenings, we get back to our camp, we get the fire going, and we share the food with the tribe. And that modern way of living is a thing. I don't know for how long we have internet. Like, I'm just Googling it. So it was publicly available as early as 85, it seems. So that was like 40 years ago. When you compare a period of 40 years to 300,000 years, you kind of start to figure out why our brain are not evolved enough in order to handle this modern world, and it everything kind of starts to make sense. That feeling of not having a purpose, not having energy, not being able to motivate ourselves to get out of the beds, that pressure of the modern world, that stress that we experienced, our physiques are overweight, we're unhealthy, we get tired by just walking, and just years before, that was our thing, to cover miles and miles and to hunt deers and to provide for a tribe. And now we're just pathetic versions of ourselves. Just because technology evolved and it put us in that digital world that we have hard time handling ourselves. And we kind of lost our old ways when our brain and systems are not yet evolved enough to handle this modern technology. It's only 40 years. And when you think about smartphones, we have smartphones for like 10 or 20 years. It's not even a generation. So it's no wonder that we're getting so distracted, we cannot focus on anything. It kind of makes sense when you look at it that way. And the more you go back to your natural way of living, so making contact with nature, spending your time walking and witnessing greenery, experiencing nature, breathing fresh air, eating a food that is unprocessed and doesn't have like 20 ingredients when you read the ingredient list, and you don't know what 90% of them even mean. when you start going to bed when the sun goes down, getting out of bed when the sun rises, when you drink clean spring water, mineral water, you don't consume tap water, when you start to get some time in for exercising, getting yourself in a decent shape, being able to run without getting too tired. When you're doing all of those things, you get back to the place in which you were before. And I was, I'm doing all of those things that I listed here. I'm not perfect. I'm not doing them every time flawlessly. So I just recently messed up my routine with exercising because I took a long vacation of a month. So I gained some weight. I didn't eat healthy food, but I still exposed myself to the sun. I was still taking some time to walk. I was not going crazy with like going down to bed at 3 or 4 like I used to. And when I do all those things, I don't struggle with those modern issues anymore. I just don't. I don't have that problem with losing focus and not being able to concentrate. And it's very simple again. When you think about it, just years back when we were hunters, we were not chasing a deer and cooking at the same time. You just couldn't do it. So we were not good in multitasking. We just directed all of our focus over that fucking deer and hunting it down and providing for a tribe. We were doing a single thing for hours and hours. It was a lot of effort. It was not something that you have easy access to. And today we have easy access to everything. You just I will go there and open the fridge and I'll have a meal. But it was not like that before. So now we're trying to multitask all the time. We're doing like 5 things in the same time. We're getting distracted by notifications. We are also having easy access to everything, to pleasure by social media. Just scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever gives you that easy access to dopamine. Your system is not evolved enough to handle that much of a dopamine spike. And it's like this glass that can only take certain capacity of liquid and you overfill it. But not only that, when it's just breaking up the glass. It just shatters it pieces. That's what you're doing when you're consuming and you're having that easy access to dopamine. You're breaking out the glass, and that glass has no capacity anymore. And in order to function the next day, you need to have a glass, and that glass won't be full of water. It will be filled until the middle here. So you will have a half glass of water, and in order to get something done, you have to drink from that glass of water. If you have something to drink, it will be easy to energize yourself and to get yourself together and get things done. If you have a broken glass on the other end, because you have destroyed all of your systems of your body the previous day by easy accessing dopamine, late nights, consuming junk food, and not being in contact with nature, not viewing sunlight, that's when you end up without a glass. Without the glass, you don't have liquid. Without the liquid, you don't have an energy to perform. And it's no wonder that you cannot get yourself together to get anything meaningful done. And like I mentioned, I'm not perfect. I'm not doing those habits all the time, but I'm doing it most of the time. And I might not do all of them, but I do many of them. So it's not about being perfect, having that perfect routine in place all the time, because that's not the way that we function. It is about just taking the time to just taking a step in the right direction in time. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you. I hope it has been useful, and just experiment with a single thing. Start small, see how it feels, and you will build that momentum up, and you will want more and more of it. For example, when I wake up, I anticipate the moment in which I have a peaceful morning and I'll be able to walk outside, around nature, around sun, with my coffee in my hand. That's so peaceful for me. That's such a good experience for me. I look forward to it. And funnily enough, 10 years back, I couldn't get myself out of bed. And I was spending zero time around nature. So try it. It's worth it.